Thank you everybody for coming out. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and this crowd is indicative of just how excited people in Brighton and beyond are that we have this beautiful trail opening up. What you're going to see very soon is a true Shangri-La right here in the middle of Brighton. So thank you all for being here. This trail combines the legacy of Brighton's history with the beauty of nature in a way that is extraordinary and absolutely unique. At the other end of this trail, 10 years ago, the town of Brighton, our friends in the state of New York, and the Brighton Rotary Club preserved and saved the Buckland House. Today, we are opening this trail and a gateway to Brighton's history, to Buckland Park, and to the beautiful Buckland House at the Westfall end of this trail. Now, this trail truly is a pathway to our history. It's a pathway to Brighton's history as a brick-making town. In the late 19th century into the early 20th century, our history, our main business, besides farming, was brick making. This land, as you will see, is in the condition that it is in no small part because our forefathers identified the vein of clay that runs through so much of Brighton as a source to support a brick making industry that at the time was second to none. It made farming a challenge, but it made brick making possible. Over those decades, the brick-making industry mined nearly 400,000 cubic yards of clay. Now, if you're wondering what a cubic yard looks like, if you saw these brick sitting areas there, they are each 1 cubic yard in size. Now, we haven't figured out how far into the sky 400,000 of those would reach, but suffice it to say that it would violate our zoning ordinance. So we're not going to do it. But that clay was moved by narrow gauge railway from here out to the brickyards on Monroe Avenue. And today, standing as you go around town, you still see the landmarks that are Brighton's bricks, from Brighton Volunteer Ambulance at the corner of Westfall and Winton Road, the Chabad Lubavitch near the 12 Corners, and yes, even the Buckland House itself, which is the oldest standing house in Brighton made with Brighton bricks. Now, again, just a little bit more about the history, because people have driven by here for years and they've seen this beautiful woodlot, but until you walk in, you don't appreciate. There is so much more than what meets the eye. The brick surface that you're standing, many of you are standing on, you may not have even noticed. There are 2 different colored bricks. Part of the great interpretive signage that the team that put this project together has done, there is a graph embedded in this brick patio here that shows clay production, how it grew and varied from 1892 into the 20th century. The yellow brick lines across here are not a yellow brick road, they are a yellow brick graph showing clay production over those years. The trail you'll walk on is a large part of the remnant of the old narrow gauge railroad bed that the trains used to haul that clay out of our wetland here, which, by the way, is the largest urban wetland in the Rochester area. Hauled from there out to Monroe Avenue. For those of you that are familiar with Sylvan Road, you may have been there and wondered, why are those houses up several feet above the street? Very simple. That, too, is a remnant of the old narrow gauge rail yard. And as you see it ultimately disappear, it disappears into the back of what once had been the Rochester Brick and Tile Company. You'll see a picture right over here of the final demolition of one of the smokestacks of the Rochester Brick and Tile. So, it's great history, great nature. I do want to recognize a number of people that are here, and we're going to wait to recognize one or two people that are here, but members of the Brighton Town Board are here. Jim Vogel, Louise Novros, Jason DePonzio are all here. Jason's back there. Chris Warner could not be here today. Our town clerk, Dan Amon, is here periscoping this. If you ever wondered who's the tech guy around Town Hall, yes, we have an IT staff, but Dan Amon is a tech guy at large. Our town judges are here, Judge John Falk and Judge Karen Morris. Thank you both. We have a number of members of the county legislature who are here. The president of the county legislature, Anthony Daniele, is here. James Shepard is here. Josh Baroff is here. Thank you. I don't know. I didn't see Justin Wilcox, but if Justin is here, my bad. Our county clerk, Adam Bello, is here. Thank you, Adam, for coming out today. Town staff is here. We have a number of former members of our board that are here and former members of town staff. Sheila Gaddis, Sherry Krause are here. Thank you all. We do have a couple people that will be speaking in just a moment. And this is a special day in many ways. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Neil Frankel, whose birthday is today.
Oh,
happy birthday, Neil. And thank you for all that you did in so many ways over the years. I also want to, you get construction and design teams that are put together and they finish their work, but the beauty of and the creativity of what you see in front of you are thanks to what truly was an extraordinary team of people that worked on this project. And I want to acknowledge each of those organizations. DeFiore Construction, the general contractor on this project. They were out here at 7 in the morning, not violating our noise laws. They waited until 7, but they did great work, and you'll see it in the detail when you get in the park. Bill Ross, Jamie Wright, thank you very much. Bayer Landscape Architecture, Sue Steele. I think somewhere back there Sue has a cot, because Sue, the work you did and the work that Mark Bayer did on this project, creatively coming up with these ideas. Who would have thought about a brick graph? Love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, BME Associates, Mike Simon, Martin Yonda, and Peter Barnes all worked together to make this great trail possible. And I do want to thank you all. We have some honorary guests today, and I want to bring them each up and thank them. I'm going to start with our New York State Senator. Thanks to you. It's great to have you here. Senator Joe Robach. Joe?
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Let me say how nice it is to be here with you and all my colleagues in government. And Bill's right. We worked very long period of time to not only connect these trails, but whenever we could get resources to preserve whatever part of Brighton history we could or protect green spaces. And I think this is an example of people working intergovernmentally to make things happen and happen right. So there's a lot of combined resources in here, and I just want to thank everybody that did that. And I'm very happy to see that a little bit later on we're going to be acknowledging, or a portion of this is going to be named after the former supervisor, Sandra Frankel, who I could tell you was instrumental in getting some of that state money. When you look up strong-arm lobbyist in the dictionary, there's a picture of Sandy Frankel. She loves spending the state's money. But this came out great, and I think generations of people here in Brighton, throughout Monroe County, are going to do this. And this one is extra special. The connectivity, the history, all this, let alone the green space, which would be a win on its own. So I just want to say to everyone over here at Brighton, job well done.
Thank you, Joe. As I was talking about former officials that are here, I missed Ray Tierney. Ray, 20 years. You are missed in many ways, but 20 years of efforts on behalf of the town. Your fingerprint is on so many great things that make Brighton special. So thank you for everything. You and I go back to that first master plan, before they called them comprehensive. Ray and I were part of that first master plan committee back in the early 90s that for the first time identified that there really was a need. Late 80s it started, that's right. That really identified for the first time what should have been obvious, that there was a need for more park space in Brighton. So thank you, Ray. Next, I want to bring up a man who has done so much, not only for this project, because Joe Morelli is absolutely instrumental in our having the resources to do this project, but time after time we turn, strong arm or not, we turn to Joe Morelli. And Joe Morelli, whether it's for a farmer's market, whether it's for this trail, project after project, we can say thank you to Joe Morelli. So I want to say thank you today, Joe Morelli, and bring you up to say a few words.
Well, good morning. First of all, I also want to acknowledge all my colleagues in government. It's great to be able to work across the aisle, different levels of government, to do positive things. I also want to thank the supervisor, not only for that great history lesson, which now I'm going to be looking at the graphs in the ground, but not only for that history lesson, but for his leadership here. We were able to get, I think, $125,000 of capital money from the state to contribute to this, but for his inspired leadership around the town in so many different ways, and of course all of his colleagues on the town government. You know, Brighton is a very special place, has always been a special place, but projects like this remind me of how special it is, and that leadership, which I have to agree with Joe. I'm not sure what you'd look up in the dictionary to find Sandy's picture, probably many different things, but I had many conversations with Sandy where I'd say, well, to do that, we'd have to change the state law, it would do this, it would do that. And she'd say, well, I don't care how you do it, just get it done. So those will be my vivid memories of my good friend Sandy Frankel over all the years that we served. So indeed, I'm particularly pleased that this will be named for her, an enduring legacy for the people of this community for all the service that she provided. So this is, and I'm reminded, I'm kind of glad many years ago this wasn't here, because I worked next door and put myself through college at Temple Brith Cottage. I probably would have come here on my lunch hour, never to have returned back to work. So, but hopefully this generation and many, many generations in the future will come to enjoy this, another special part of what makes this such a great community. And we're just delighted to have played a minor role in it. So thank you, and God bless you.
I hate to correct Joe Morelli, but the state's role and his role was anything but minor, and we appreciate it. Speaking of intergovernmental workings, we are all part of Monroe County, and in so many ways, just take the street that you have here, Elmwood Avenue, a county road. We work together with the county in maintenance of that road, and in so many ways. I'm very pleased today that our county executive, Cheryl Donalfo, is here, and I want to bring Cheryl up to the podium. You don't have in your program, but I also want to ask the president of the Monroe County Legislature, Anthony Daniele, also to come up to together say some things and make a presentation on behalf of the county. Cheryl, Anthony.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am absolutely delighted to be here for this special occasion. As has been said before, you know what, we're one county, and the county works best when we all work together for the betterment of each and every person in this community. And today is really a testament to just that, when we see our colleagues in the state legislature with Joe Morelli and Joe Roebuck, working together with the town and working together with the legislature and the county. You know what, it's a win for all of us today. And I am so thrilled that we're here today to celebrate that great victory here in the town of Brighton. And when we talk about a great victory in the town of Brighton, if you don't mind, I'm going to say thank you to the current supervisor, to Bill Maley, for his leadership in bringing this project to its fruition. But if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about the former town supervisor, Sandy Frankel. You know what, Sandy has given so much to this community, and it's seen all over the town of Brighton. And its impact is not only in the town of Brighton, but also in the county of Monroe. I certainly got to know Sandy last year quite well, and I have a lot of respect for what she has done and what she continues to do to make not only Brighton, but the entire county of Monroe a better place for each and every one of us. So Sandy, this is a tribute well-deserved to you, and certainly to your husband, Neil. A great couple, a great family, a great example of what it means to be community-minded, not only here in the town of Brighton, but also in the county of Monroe. So congratulations to you, Sandy. A job well done. Congratulations to everyone who has worked together to make today a reality. Thank you for inviting me.
And I'll keep it short. I couldn't put it any better than Cheryl could, but as the president of the Monroe County Legislature, along with my colleagues, who I represent a little piece of Brighton, and along with Legislator Baroth, Legislator Shepard, and Legislator Wilcox, it's our pleasure to represent Brighton. We're very proud of all the things that Brighton does, the respect that they have for public open spaces, the commitment to parks, open spaces, and history is outstanding, and certainly a model for other communities in our region. And turning to Sandra Frankel, who I've had the pleasure of knowing for a very long time. I won't go into years because I'll date both of us, but a great person, a great community advocate who has done so much for this town and has certainly been an advocate for beyond the borders of Brighton. On behalf of the legislature, I have a little certificate here to present to you on behalf of all of us for all the work that you've done, and a well-deserved recognition today in Brighton. Thank you.
Don't go too far, Sandy. We've thanked a lot of people today. Two that I do want to mention more by name, though. From our town staff, our town engineer, Mike Guyon. Mike was really on staff, our primary point person, working with that great team of people I talked about. Mike's in the back. Mike hates the attention, but there he is. Thank you very much. And Mary Ann Husser, who helped put this together, does so much behind the scenes, organizing things, keeping things running smoothly. Thank you to you, Mary Ann. And I know Sandy is going to talk a little bit about this in a moment, but this was a team effort. And one of the members of the team, if you will, was the Farish Foundation. Max and Mary Ann Farish owned this land for many years. After their passing, it went to the Farish Foundation. And working with the Farish Foundation, it was possible, and Sandy will talk, I know in a minute, a little bit more about how it was possible to make this land the foundation for our newest park. And I do want to recognize Nick Robfogel, who's with us today, chair of the board of the Farish Foundation. Thank you for being here, Nick. And thank you for all of your legacy in work for the greater community. But now that we've thanked a whole lot of people, I want to get to Sandy Frankel, my friend, my predecessor, and so much more. You came to office in 1992, and you immediately saw a need in this community. You recognized that Brighton had at the time a park system that truly didn't reflect the kind of community that Brighton was and the kind of community that Brighton wanted to be, needed to be. And you didn't just look at that, you jumped right in and began taking action immediately. We had just a small sliver of parkland, much of which was right here on our town hall campus. Today, after your great term in office, we have now over 500 acres of town park, well over 400 acres when you left office. That would not have been possible without your commitment and your hard work. And there are some beautiful parks out there. We've talked about Corbett's Glen for years as a jewel of this community. We have Buckland, you know, some of these parks like Buckland, like Corbett's Glen, Stowell Nature Preserve over in West Brighton, named after important people that owned that land. We even have a park over here on Clinton Avenue named after a majestic persimmon tree on that site, Persimmon Park. Today, though, we have the opportunity to name this park, not after someone that owned the land, but after someone that made it possible that today all of us own this land. Today, we name this park the Sandra L. Frankel Nature Park to honor and to thank you for all you did to make this park and the entire park system in Brighton possible. A place you could take a walk, a place you could play sports, a place you could take your kids or your grandchildren. All of those, you'll find those in our park system. Today, we open one more jewel in the crown that is our park system, and we have, to such a great extent, our friend, Sandy Frankel, to thank for that. Sandy.
Well, first I want to thank my good friend Lorraine Albers for providing me with a hanky. For those of you who know me, I do sometimes get emotional, so this is going to be put to good use. What a humbling and exhilarating day. What a privilege. Today's beautiful Brickyard Trail and the dedication of this new 72-acre park in my name is the culmination of 2.5 decades of dreaming and doing, of dedication and hard work that translated a shared community dream into reality. The preservation of open space for active and passive recreation and to protect environmentally sensitive land. I'm honored and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let me begin by thanking you, Bill, and the council members, Jim Vogel, Louise Novros, Chris Werner, and Jason DePonzio for completing our town-wide park system, which was overwhelmingly approved and funded by the voters in a public referendum in 2001, and for the honor of naming this park for me. You know, parks are for people, and with responsible care, they will last for generations. Parks touch our souls, lift our spirits, and strengthen us. And the same can be said for the impact that parks have on a community. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the National Park Service and our nation's commitment to protecting true environmental and historical treasures. It's a joy to visit these sites and embrace the wonders of our great country from sea to shining sea. And it is an everyday joy to visit, here I go, and enjoy our local parks, which we created together. Inspired by John F. Kennedy's 1961 inaugural speech, in which he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." I apply this to my public service. I believe that government can be a source for good, and when the public and elected officials come together in common cause, we get excellent public safety services, sound infrastructure, a strong economy, great schools, friendly neighborhoods, and beautiful public parks. This perspective built a strong foundation for our daily lives and has made Brighton a great place to live, work, do business, raise a family, and retire. As Bill said, we went from the Brighton Memorial Park, the small triangle at 12 Corners, the small recreation area behind Town Hall, and Brighton Town Park, leased from the state DOT for $1 a year in 1992, to about 8 major parks and trails throughout Brighton in 2016. Today, roughly 500 acres of active and passive parkland provide venues for playgrounds and sports, for lodges, for community events, and to protect our waterfalls, streams, ponds, woodlands and wetlands, meadows and animal habitats. How lucky we are to have had a shared community vision to preserve open space, to create recreation areas for healthy physical outlets for people of all ages, to provide respite from our hectic daily lives, and to contribute to the study and enjoyment of nature. Despite climate change deniers, we accept the world scientific community's conclusion that this is a real and present danger to our future. That's why we undertook a planning process to reduce our carbon footprint. And we did that in our small corner of the planet, and we know that our parks contribute to that effort. Many people deserve recognition for their tireless efforts in creating our townwide park system. From the beginning, and I want to see where they are. Did Rick leave? Okay. From the beginning, the power of the people prevailed. Judge Rick Dollinger, Jan Miller, Judy Schwartz, and Lila Bluestone were early advocates for open space preservation and got the ball rolling. Remember SOS? Check out Jen's t-shirt, Save Our Space. During my 20 years as supervisor, town board members Linda Garner-Goldstein, Jim Vogel, Ray Tierney, Bob Arbedo, Jill Vigdorf-Beltman, Bridget Shumway, Ken Gordon, Sherry Krause, and Sheila Gaddis shared the vision and played a major role in making this day happen. We worked with an incredible professional staff that went above and beyond and helped us to apply policy to practice, and at the end of the day, we created Meridian Center Park, Buckland Park, Corbett's Glen Nature Park, Lynchwood Nature Park, Lehigh Valley Multi-Purpose Trail, Persimmon Park, and more, and I think it's starting to rain. I want to acknowledge our great staff over the years: Tom Lowe, Tim Keith, Jerry Levine, Ken Rohr, Suzanne Zaso, Ramsey Boehner, Lorraine Albers, Marianne Husser, David Dollinger, Tom Vocal, Mark Henderson, Mike Guyon, Becky Cotter, Matt Behan, so many others, Doug Clapp, too many to name. So I'll stop there because it's raining. But each contributed their expertise, and we couldn't have done it without their professional guidance and grassroots support. Also, Gay Mills and the Genesee Land Trust and the Nature Conservancy, Brighton Rotary and Kiwanis helped us, and I want to thank again Joe Morelli and Joe Roba for their contributions in helping to make this park system a reality. Today's park reflects the creative approach we've taken, and I also want to acknowledge the Wegman companies that got this going on this site to build a senior residential assisted living facility and to help us reach this goal of this wonderful park. We bought 32.5 acres for $650,000. They donated 40.5 acres through the incentive zoning process. And that kind of creativity and cooperation makes this part of the green necklace that connects our trails and our parks throughout the region. So I want to thank Joe McEntee for his efforts in this way as well. So in closing, I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you. This is what community is all about. I want to wish Neil a happy birthday, myself, and I look forward to seeing all of you on the trail. So let's take a hike. Trails to you.
You know, Sandy is so right that this is about community. There are some special people who give because they love their community. They find ways to do it. One of the people in Brighton for so many years, someone who wrote about the bricks of Brighton, someone who is recognized by the Brighton Rotary Club as Brighton's Citizen of the Year not so many years ago, was a man named Leo Dodd. Many of you knew Leo. If you didn't, you should have. Because Leo was a special guy. Again, sort of like Sandy. Leo's voice was a voice you didn't silence. But you knew that when Leo had something to say, it was important. You better listen. We lost Leo last year. But I do want to, and you'll see right here on the Brickyard Trail sign, just a brief mention of Leo Dodd and his legacy for not only this park, but our other parks. Literally, just days before his death, Leo was still looking at and really making sure that the workers working on this very trail were bringing in artifacts of Brighton's early history to his hospital room, thanks in part to my friend Ray Tierney. So he was a part of this project to the very end. So I want to introduce Paul Dodd, and Paul, if you can come up and say a few words this morning. Paul, thank you.
Yeah, my father, Leo, moved to Brighton in his 50s, but he pretty quickly applied his three passions for art, engineering, and history to looking into Brighton's past. And I really don't think we'd be talking about the bricks, although many people find them in their backyard. The industry was what really got Brighton going here. Glacier, left these fantastic deposits in the Pinnacle Range, all the ingredients for making. Oh boy. Somebody get hurt or something?
I think maybe someone's feeling heated. Yeah. Okay. So why don't you
Good?
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, about 15 years ago, he came up with a book working with Historic Brighton. He was one of the founding members of that organization. The book was shaped like a brick, and it told the story of the brick-making business in Brighton, and he recreated those early days when photos didn't exist with his artwork and 3D drawing. So his name's on the board over there, and I don't think anybody would be talking about bricks if it wasn't for his tireless efforts at tweaking the politicians to save the Buckland House, maybe try to preserve one of those barns, to name the woods, Edmonds Woods over there by the Buckland House, to preserve the meadow behind the Buckland House where the bobolinks come every year. Leo pushed for that his entire life, right to the end, like Phil said. He couldn't even get out of the car on our last trips to the doctor, but he was checking on the progress of this park, and so happy he would be that it's named well, that it has brick at least in the name. He'd be thrilled. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, I'm going to bring Sandy back up here again. We're going to, while our great emergency responders are working with someone who was, I guess, feeling the heat, and we hope she's all right. We're going to step over here now, and we're going to the first thing we're going to do. You've been wondering what's under this. So Sandy, I'm going to invite you to pull the bow, and let's see what's back here.
Okay, and I haven't seen this.
No, you haven't.
I understand it's been hiding in the highway department.
Sandy helped put up a lot of signs for a lot of parks over the years, and I'm so pleased that we now have Sandy's name right up top for this beautiful park. Okay, I'm now going to ask Sandy, our honored guests, our other elected officials, to come up and join me. I will ask. We have three important stakeholders. I know some of them are here. Temple Brith Kodesh next door. Sandy mentioned Wegman Companies, the landing at Brighton Senior Community. I don't know if we have a representative from them. And the Church of Latter-day Saints, all of whom have worked with us in making this trail possible. So I want to invite you all up here, and of course Neil Frankel as well, and Nick as well. Come on up. Are you? Okay. Good.
Lila, you're universal.
Hey, brother.
Great to see you. How you doing?
Hi, brother.
These great scissors, Judge Karen, Judge Morris, Judge Falk, are you up here? Come on up. Ray, Sherry. And thanks to the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, who loaned us these great scissors. So Sandy, maybe you can pull another, we can pull this bow as well.
That's like a serious secret.
Hi, Dan.
Okay, let's see how many of us we can get hands on these scissors. Come on, reach in. And it wouldn't be a ribbon cutting without a countdown. So, 1, 2, 3. They're upside down. Are they upside down? Okay.
Take 2. And 3. Count again.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yay! All right. That concludes our formal ceremony. However, I know there are some people here with bikes, and I want to invite you. Some of them have already taken that opportunity, but Richard DeSera is here from the Rochester Cycling Alliance and from our own Bicycle Pedestrian Master Citizens Group. Oh, we forgot something. Sandy, come on back out. Mary Ann has something for you.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Mary Ann. Oh, you're beautiful. Mary Ann, Lorraine Albers worked with me. Where's Lorraine?
Where is Lorraine? Lorraine's here.
I know she's here. She's hiding.
She's hiding in the back. I see her with her back to us.
Anyway, Lorraine and
Lorraine Albers. Sandy would like you. Sandy needs just to. Excuse me.
Yay, Lorraine. Yay, Lorraine. Sweet Lorraine. I just have to tell you that Lorraine and Mary Ann have been remarkable as the glue that holds this town government together over the years.
Amen.
And we couldn't have done it without both of you. No kidding. Really important people. Remember that.
Now, as I was starting to say, and thank you for that, Sandy, Lorraine and Mary Ann are just extraordinary. Richard DeSera is ready to lead those of you, young and old, who are here with your bikes on a bicycle tour. And for the rest of you that only have your the two legs, we're also going to take a little walk, especially for those of you that have not yet seen the trail, seen our own little Shangri-La, our Glockamora, right here in the town of Brighton. Prepare to be amazed. So everybody, I invite you to your first, or maybe not your first walk, on Brighton's newest Brickyard Trail.